Steffi, art has actually no language.
Of course.
And cultural barriers, and this we have discussed since yesterday. Do you feel kind of isolated when you are working in Nollywood and not in Hollywood or in Bollywood or our Indian industry or mainstream cinema? What would you say? Do you find cultural difficulties in expressing to the global audiences?
Well, I wouldn't say I feel isolated, because I think each industry just sprung up trying to create a void, trying to see their own representation of themselves. And I think that's why Bollywood came, Nollywood came, like, oh, I need to see my own experience. But the good thing about technology now is that it has made the world a global village. I mean, I have access to people in different countries just sitting where I am. And the good thing that arts can do and film can do is also to continue to break barriers. About, like I was telling you, that there is need for these industries to, synergize, to come together and collaborate and do more work. I was giving you an instance, like, every day we interact with each other. You can come to Nigeria and do a business in Nigeria. I can come to India and do a business. Sometimes when you put films where people can understand each other more, because I've had a situation where you might come into my country and you're doing this the same way. It is right, but I just don't understand it, and you don't understand the way I do things. And the way we can both understand each other is when we as creative people find a way to create films or bring those cultures together so that we understand the little nuances that we have, so that, there will be less fiction in the world. And I think that's the role that the arts play. So I don't think I'm being in a box, but I think we all have our boxes, but it's not for us to explode and sort of like intertwine and come together. So the world becomes a better place, I think. Yeah. So, and that's what we should be doing with our arts. So we are open to collaborations.
Why not?
With Bollywood and
we should certainly do that.
Yeah.
And especially these days when languages, I mean, there are cases in India when a Hollywood film has done better than Indian cinema.
Yeah.
So, Roni, you are very well experienced and you know the entire industry, not only Bollywood but also Southern film cinema. Why we haven't seen many women directors or women producers, so to speak, in our cinema industry?
Yeah, I can't speak for women producers, but I think the key would be women directors, because if we can get women directors. And I think that is a little bit because of what Aditi said, that the male-female box office ratio and weightage has just been dynastically and hereditary-wise, the perception is a bit skewed. And I think that can change.
Skewed in favor of the...
skewed in favor of men, I presume.
Men in the cinema.
Yes, in some form. And I think that is wrong, because you have got now things that are extending in a completely different manner. But the pay scale somewhere, like anything else, like in professional jobs, has been skewed. There's no running away from that. But today, if you look at that ecosystem is changing slowly, slowly. That 20% ratio will go at some stage to 30% and 40%. I think it's also about the tenure and the commitment of what you want to do, because a one-off movie director doesn't make an overall brand, and therefore continuity and a 20-year commitment to the space is also one. Now, you may have women directors that may go in and out of something, but I think people who've decided to make this their career path and stayed the course. The other part, I think, is I found that this is an industry with more failures than successes.
Yeah.
Which means you need much more resilience, much more faith in yourself.
But now people are believing that the failure teaches you much more than the successes.
Exactly.
And you are the example of that.
But, which is why...
You didn't stop at when you had 5 failures in the beginning.
Yeah.
You continued.
Yeah, because to me it was, I don't have a choice and I want to do this for the long term.
And once it is about conviction.
Yeah. So if you can stay the course, I think... And my communication and message to women directors would be, just stay the course, because if you stick in there and dig your heels in, there is an opportunity. Let's be very clear. Women are much more sensitive.
Yes.
Have a lot more empathy.
Yeah. That's why I wonder why we don't have many
Will be better storytellers.
Well, maybe because it's a lot of work also. You know, it's easy for you to bring the money, produce, but as a director, you're going to be in the picture. Like in every scene, you're there, you're going to see it through to the end. So it's also a lot of work.
It's a deep level of commitment with an exclusion of almost everything else.
So you're giving message to this conference that we must invite more women as directors and creative people.
Absolutely. If I'm doing 6 movies right now, 2 out of the 6 are female directors. Hopefully a third can come.
Very good. Yeah, wonderful. So, of course, by the time we finish, I guess we will have a house full.
I also want to say that in at least up in Bombay, they use this term, heroine-oriented, women director, but we never say male director.
Yeah.
It's director, film. The film happens to be about a girl or a boy or an elderly man or a woman or a dog or a cat or whatever.
Yeah.
So the moment those distinctions go, I think somewhere we'll be on the same, where we deal with it as one thing, not heroine-oriented, female director. Well, I know this is the time to fight for it, but somewhere it has to become just a story.
I think the women also, I think the women should also stop. I think the women should stop looking for labels, or maybe they use it. I'm a female director, because sometimes I've had an interview where people interviewed me. Oh, would you directed your movie as a female? I'm like, I don't think that way. So I think women should stop thinking that I have to do this, or I'm a woman, let me do this because I want to show the man. I say, I look at myself, do I have the talent to do this? I do. Can I do it? I go ahead and do it, and I don't look at any other barriers. And I think people respect you more if you do that and your work speaks for yourself, and it is good. Do you also gain that respect? And also encourage a lot of other women who feel that they can do it. But sometimes, you were saying about here in Nollywood, there are even more women producing and doing more stuff, leading the box office in Nigeria also.
And as you rightly said, not as a challenge or anything, but I believe man is incomplete without woman, and so is woman.
Yes.
So we are kind of made for each other. We are complete with each other. So anyway, coming to technology now, do you use a lot of technology?
Yes, we do. Technology has helped a lot of filmmakers, especially from my world.
So with this VFX and artificial intelligence, then augmented reality coming into the cinema, and all these digital prints are being released. And no more we use the films as a material for distribution.
Yeah.
So all digital cameras and 8K high-end cameras, etc. Does it reduce the cost of movie production as a producer, because you have been producing films?
Yeah, of course. I mean, technology has made movie making very cheap. It's made a lot of people also to think that they can be filmmakers. So they've really broken down the ground, and that has also helped my industry, because this is what it's a more digitalized industry. We use a lot of digital work and all of that than, shooting scripts with film. So it has sort of like made the filmmaking process cheaper. Even in Hollywood, I'm sure a lot of studios also want to cut down on the cost of production. And also, I think we also need to somehow cut down on the cost of production, because the way the digital world is going, a lot of consumers think they need to consume the films for free because it's digitalized form. They can have easy access to it. Unlike before, a film is shown, you have to stand on the line and go watch it in the cinema. But now I can pick up my mobile phone, I can watch it. So there's another mentality that is going on that we need to sort of like shift to know that the filmmakers go, they raise the money for this film, they go into the creative process to actually create this product, and so the product has to be respected, and they also need to get monies for it. So technology has made filmmaking cheaper, and it's just for us to know how to monetize, to make sure that we get back our monies, for our
just to add to that, to me, I think the biggest thing that technology adds is that it makes your vision bigger.
Yeah.
So one is cost, and the second is efficiency, but that I think is the sort of behind the scenes. But the big thing for a movie and for a creative artist is to make your vision bigger. I can't think of a better company that does this very well than Marvel. Okay, they've taken comic book characters and now are making multi-billion-dollar movies, and it's not 1 and 2. So there's a reason if you can get $10 billion movies, you're approaching this with a bigger vision. And I think people should look at technology not only just as an efficiency or a cost saving, but enlarging your vision.
Yeah. And getting access to a lot of people having access to your content.
Roni, now in India, there are different numbers floating around, but some people say that there are about 5 million people work behind the camera in the filmmaking. Some people go up to 10 million people working in the industry. There are spot boys to cameramen to everybody. All kind of people are employed. But still, Indian cinema hasn't made a very huge impact on the Indian economy, as you would say Hollywood has. Hollywood probably is the fourth or fifth highest exporting product to the American economy. So why is it so, and what do you think we should do to make this industry being able to contribute big, so that even when such events are organized by India and in India, media and entertainment also become an important part, as this has been done in this conference?
I think one big issue is perception. This is such a fragmented industry that we're not come together to really talk about it and get our perception right. And that's why we're always looked at just a frill industry and a peripheral industry. And I think that perception has to change, but it can't change.
But how do we change? That's the question.
And I think for too long, with all due respect for everything else, we've had 1 or 2 or 3 creative people heading the entire perception of trying to project a business environment.
But don't you think it is also the film industry is responsible? Only if you are born in a film family, you will be getting chance. Otherwise, normal people will not get entry into it.
Correct.
You are still, Bollywood is controlled by 4 or 5 A-class actors, male actors. They don't let many boys to come in or even girls to come in.
But that's why you're there, and then hopefully we'll all follow and be people like that, because I think that's how that will change the entire industry here, Subhash, because frankly, it is about that. So the bad news in this entire thing is that we've got it so focused that we really don't know, that we think it's a long tail, but it could be a really big tail.
Yeah.
And that's what we're leaving on the table. Coming back to, I mean, if you actually, on a more lighter note, if you go to a shooting, you would think there should be no employment problem in India, because I think we're always overstaffed. There were 100 more people on a shoot than I would like to see them, but not taking the employment part. And so that's efficiency of a different nature, which I would like to comment on. But yes, you're right. Whether it's 5 or 10 million, indirectly, we can be doing a lot more. I think the question is the per capita part of it. Because if these people, if the talent is not respected, then you're always going to look at it as labor. And if a production person comes into this sector not as a trained individual, but by default as a career path, mainly driven by passion and not qualification, then we're not going to add value. So the question is, it's almost like the education. Why are we not looking at it as a career path? Why do people not look at it? Why are there not courses that actually teach you that? In every large, well-known university in the world, you will have media and entertainment and film as a curriculum with respect, most difficult to get into, but we don't have that here. So I think the second is the aura of respect, qualification, where people can earn 10x of what they're earning right now. It'll be less for more, but you'll create a stature of a very different nature. So I agree, it is a circle, and someone has to break that circle.
We all have to work.
I also feel that stems from the way that India is per se, just to, because what you've said has made me think, because Indians, and especially artists, it's always been passed down from generation to generation. Also, there's some kind of instinctiveness and passion, etc., associated with the arts, which is very important for the arts. But as you say, it has to marry education.
And
so
passion
it
without
has to,
discipline is useless.
And somewhere we feel it's mutually exclusive, but it's not. And that needs to go out there, and people need to feel comfortable with that idea.
Yeah, it's like an entrepreneur here saying, I have an idea, and then he pauses, thinking the whole world should be listening to him. And I'm saying, but what's your plan?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's right. Now, have you ever felt necessity to look at the digital world? Because today, if you look at almost all the artists, all the actors are collaborating with the digital network somewhere or the other. They have signed contracts to make web series and giving them the digital right for making films.
Yeah.
So things like that. So have you ever crossed as an actress that maybe this big screen is going to be over and let me also learn and explore about the 5 inches cinema, which is mobile phone?
So, luckily, at the moment, I've been working and I have films lined up, so I have been doing that. But this is something that has been sort of every so often a little whisper of something that comes to me, and then I hear about some web series that is being created, etc. And you're right, I have been sent a lot of stuff on web shows, etc. But because it requires a different kind of time frame to do it, I have not been able to do it. But having said that, like I said, for me, there's a clarity in terms of I want to work with certain directors. So if those directors go ahead and make a web series, and if I like the content, I wouldn't think twice about doing it.
Maybe they will never, because
maybe somebody else. I'm not
talking
about big established A-list. I'm even talking about newer directors. A good director doesn't have to be somebody who's made a 400 crore film. A good director could have made a film on a budget of 2 crores and it could have made 15, and that, according to me, is a success. Somewhere this media perception of what is successful is also a little skewed. Being an actor, I feel it hugely, because why do you have to make 100 crores for a film to be a success? The public doesn't know that that film was made for a certain amount of money and the return was a certain amount. So that, I'm not even getting into that. It's not about how successful the director is, it's about how much conviction the director has, how good the director is, and his skill and his ability to bring out a performance out of me. So that is what I'm talking about. And I feel like if I do get something like that, and if I have the space to do it, I will 100% do it, because I am greedy to act and I'm greedy to do good stuff. And as an actor, I want to be in front of the camera and do different things. And sometimes on cinema, I may not be able to do that, for whatever reason. Censorship or whatever, and I can do it on digital content. So of course I'll do it when the time comes. I'll do it. At the moment, luckily or happily so, I'm very busy doing cinema, and I'm one of those girls who love cinema as like that theater watching cinema experience. So I believe that magic will never fade. For me, it is the magic faraway tree. It's like an enchanted forest which will stay forever, regardless of anything.
We're praying.
Well, that is because of, that cinema is a very hot medium, because when you watch cinema in the theater, you are larger than the life size. And lights are off, you have no distraction, and you are kind of totally...
It's magic.
You are immersed into it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then the digital is the cold medium. Now you see on your television screen, you are 5 feet girl, but you look at 5 inches, not even 5 inches tall.
So the big question
it's a cold medium.
But the big question for all talent that we'll all have to face is, do you want more people to watch your movie, or do you want people to watch it in a movie theater? And over a period of time, let's face it, 7 to 8 out of the 10 people that will finally watch your movie will not be watching it.
They're watching it on
and I think, well, we have to face the reality of what is happening with cinema. For my industry, we didn't have a lot of cinema. The cinema is, just starting up. That, and then, the digital world is also starting up, because the digital gives you the freedom to watch the movies whenever you want to watch it, however you want to watch it, so there's still going to be this different group of people.
And the point is, your movies may not travel, it will push theatrical, but with these platforms,
everyone can watch it from anywhere.
There's no boundary.
When you start getting WhatsApps from countries that you've not heard of,
and you're
like, know the power
of the media.
No, absolutely.
But, but also in Nollywood, the cinema culture still has its space, because people still somehow will still want to experience that, but it's also shifting, very rapidly. I mean, you have the Netflix, you have all these things. So I think the cinema is still dicey because it gives you this way. You maybe want to take your girlfriend out, your family out. You want to have that outdoor experience. And then there's other people who want to just sit at home, have a nice meal, get your friends, get a big TV, and you watch it at your own time, however you want it.
Yeah.
So
both are very important.
Well, they are important, but the technology is sweeping things in such a fast speed that we as filmmakers somehow we can't resist it. It's just to sort of like embrace it and make sure, like I said, content is king. So however, if your content is premium, however you create your content, some people might watch it in cinema, you also need to put it out there. So it's not about maybe resisting it. I don't care whether you see it in cinema, or see it in digital. It's just embracing the whole aspect of how people, because you find that people are watching, your audience, the way they watch things have changed. Do you understand? So the patterns have changed. People are so busy, they might just want to get the information, and the information is moving at the speed of light. Their attention span is so short that you need to get that attention. With the social media news here, the people are distracted. Unlike before, when we were growing up, everybody was watching the same experience. Like in Nigeria, if I was at 4 o'clock, we'll sit in front of the TV, everybody in Nigeria is watching the same thing. But now I can go on YouTube, I can be watching Netflix, I can be watching the cable network, I can be watching, so people are having different experiences. Yeah. So we as filmmakers just need to open ourselves up to sort of like embrace all these new things that are coming in, and so that we don't lose out. Yeah, I think so.
Stephanie, in your part of the world, or let me back. What is the entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is who is not just building a business, but who is also accomplishing their desire and achieve their ideas, convert the ideas into achievements.
Yes.
And in the world, there are investment bankers, there are angel investors, there are people to fund your ideas. Mm-hmm. But how about as a filmmaker, are you able to get funding for your filmmaking in that part of the world?
No, it's actually very difficult to get funding, especially in the entertainment space. Just like you're saying about the packaging and the perception of how the government sees the entertainment industry, they've not, we are sort of like the second largest employers of labor because, it's a big industry. But we still have not been able, we're still in the process of trying to convince the government that this is a viable industry that you need to invest in because it caters both for the skilled and you're skilled, the able and the unable. So the government has never funded the movie industry. It was just individuals who had companies, businesses who put in money to fund this project, or maybe family and friends. But recently, like 2 years ago, it was the first time that the government put in a fund, a 3 billion naira fund, to sort of like help in the industry. First ever, that we had that experience. And then they were able to set up this institution called BOI, the industry to, sort of like specialize, look into the industry and find out how they can package the loans and whatever to assist, because the commercial banks, they still don't understand us, so they find it difficult of how are we going to get the numbers, how are we going to get our monies back, our investment. So it's been quite challenging.
It's a struggle.
Yeah, it's a struggle, yeah. But, but we keep pushing because we're also trying to push that, at least for the commercial bank, if they can have a sector, an entertainment desk that understand how entertainment works, because it's a different dynamics actually. It's not 1 + 1 + 2 + 3. You understand? There's a whole lot of dynamics to it, and with those conversations are happening, and we're also happy that this particular bank of industry is also helping to facilitate and give loans to cinema builders and distribution.
We had similar thing, but I think 10, 15 years, 20 years back, it got broken. Now the funding is available for cinema. I remember when beginning, Ronnie and we were working together, when I went to my banker for starting television, and I wanted to have some financing. My banker, I've been banking with State Bank for the last 40 years, before this incident, 25 years. So he told me, Subhash, this video cassette, you are asking me to finance 2 lakh of rupees, 200,000 rupees. but my servant brings this cassette from the video library in 5 rupees. So how do I believe that this is 200,000 worth 200,000 rupees? So that was the time we have seen. But since then, Indian banks and institutions have been funding the filmmaking. Okay. So that way we have been better than this. Ronnie, I've always wondered a question that does a movie run only because of a superstar, or do you think it works because of the script? Do you think if we make a very good script with wonderful stars and big budget, will it be a blockbuster? On what basis do you as a producer decide? Because always you have a risk, you have money at stake, you raise funding, you want to return that money also, or you want your money to make money. Yeah. So how do you really go about this dilemma to resolve?
Yeah, I think my dilemma gets solved because my sense is if there's a really good script and a story, I should give it its best chance for huge success by then casting it up. But if I'm starting to look at an average script and I'm more enamored because I cast the film, it's a recipe for disaster. It may not always be because there will always be some satellite television channel that might bail me out.
So we are your bailing out.
Yeah, but no, I'm just saying, but jokes apart, I think the way to approach that dilemma is you have to focus on the script and the storytelling. And audiences today have evolved. Yeah. Footfalls overall have remained flat in India for the longest period of time. So what has happened is that people who are going to the movies 12 times a year are now going 4 times a year. That's why the footfalls are flat. The day that stops, it'll start reducing. And the only reason is they're being circumspect. And the only reason they're being circumspect is because of storytelling. So I think every movie needs a chance. I'm not against casting and star cast, but take a base and then cast it up, and don't rely on the cast and then figure out the base. Yeah, that's never good.
But it's always the other way around in the Bollywood. People first sign up the stars and then they go to script writers.
You're seeing this over the last 2 years. That track record is not holding up.
Yeah, because somewhere it's not just that star that made that film work. It's the entire team that made that film work. Yeah. And that really...
If you look at the list in 2017...
Not necessarily everybody believes in the filmmaking. Everyone believes that it's because of me the film...
Yeah, but
No, but just to say that, I think a lot of stars, you know, I think being one from, you're looking out for good scripts, good story. Story is the main thing, and that is maybe what has also helped my industry is the story. Story is, you know, story is still king, you know, because sometimes how do new actors break out? Yeah. Do you understand? You can see someone who is new, you don't know the person, and they have this fantastic story, and they really bring it to life. You know, they become a star. So I don't think it's a combination, whether you're using the star or a startup. The main thing is that have good story, you know, and you as a big star, you don't want to do something that is, you know, not really nice. You're looking for a story that will challenge you more and bring out the best in you. That's what I think. So story is definitely.
No, but very often an actor also makes a decision saying, oh, the producer is good, oh, this project is good, the director is good, I'll do it, they're paying me so much money. But then that star hasn't come in with the conviction to play that part.
So it's economical
I think that's
then.
Also, no, what I'm saying is, that there's also a right reason for that actor to do that film and for the producer to believe that that actor is the right, that star is the right choice.
Because in the character.
Because casting wise and in terms of conviction, because then even that creates a, you know, it starts off really good on paper, everything is right, and then it's just kaput because somewhere there was not that equal level of conviction, and filmmaking is so fragile in that, like whatever I've seen recently. Everything matters, and it's so easy for an audience to go into a theater and in 10 minutes say, this is crap, which doesn't happen on digital because you just give it more time.
That's the honeymoon period, because now on the trailer they're going to decide whether
it's true.
Yeah, on the trailer, yes. And now they know they've changed the style. They're now doing like 6 trailers. So the films, there's a new type. So you do the first trailer, you don't cut, you do the second trailer, you do
the first 10 minutes.